We'll start by taking a quick look at the approach plate. Look at the items in red, the Bevet intersection and the 1,600 feet. Okay, we're now en route for about 23 miles from Myrtle Beach. You can look at the GPS and follow it there. You can also look at it on the instruments. We'll switch over to navigation from GPS. You can see that we're headed to the Bevet intersection. We're 22 miles. We're on a 15-mile scale. You can see we have gear down. We have 1 notch of flaps. We're starting to slow the aircraft up. Engine gauges look good. Looks like a good day for a nice landing. You can see the glide slope and below it the localizer beam. They're in pink on the ADI. You can see our airspeed is about 160 knots. If you look at the HSI, you can see the localizer beam is off to our right, which it would be. Somehow the altitude hold got disengaged. We'll put that back on to keep us at 1,600 feet. Now we can take a look at the actual ILS procedures in the GPS. You can see that we're coming in off the direct path, coming off to the right. We don't want too sharp of an angle when we hit the localizer beam. There, that makes it a little bit easier to see. Procedures, we can look at the approaches. You see ILS 18 right at the top, and we can load that or activate it. We might as well activate it. Activate it, and we can look at the different fixes we'll go to. Bevet is first, and then right after that is runway 18. 13 miles and 5 miles. Total of 18 miles. Now the first fix is Bevet, which is 12 miles. And we'll move our heading indicator off the right, so if we need to, we can deviate just a little bit to the right so that we don't come in quite so sharply. In other words, we want to come in further out. And we'll engage the heading. That'll put us on our new course of interception. Meanwhile, we'll keep an eye on all of the gauges, our airspeed, mentally tracking everything we need to do, engage the approach. We're close enough that it should be engaged. Another notch of flaps, which means we can fly at a lower airspeed. Bring the heading down just a little bit, maybe to about 140 knots. Don't want to break anything. We are 7 miles in closing. You can see our destination is in the bottom of the ADI screen. Localizer beam is off to the right. Glide slope is above us. Another notch of flaps. Closing fast. Should be almost ready to turn. And the autopilot is taking over. You can see the airport in the distance with a red light. We're turning on course to land runway 18. If we had set the inbound radial to 118 or more precisely 176, then the green needles would line up as we dialed in. You can still do that by changing the course selection. We're 2 miles from Bevet, 1,600 feet. Speed control is still on. We've got a pitch down. We just captured the glide slope. You can see the pink indicator. It's right at level. And we are descending. And we'll take off the speed control so we can utilize the throttle a little more efficiently. We certainly don't want it to maintain 140 knots when we're on the ground. Autopilot is still engaged. We're trying to stay on the glide slope, which is below us. So I'm in a slight dive with the power off at the moment. With the power off, I can flare out and lose some speed pretty rapidly here.
Think brake. Think brake. Think brake. Think brake.
Watching the red and white VASI lights. Red and white, just right. All red, you're dead. We'll engage reverse thrust as soon as we touch down. Autopilot is off. And we are touchdown.